This low mileage 2006 Bentley Flying Spur that I picked up at the salvage auction had seen better days. With cosmetic damage down the left side of the car, it seems to be a pretty easy fix. And that's all and thanks to having a donor car with these very expensive parts. Previously we had looked at this damage and we had started removing some of our bad parts. So today we're going to start by removing some of our replacement parts from our donor car and prepping those to go onto our damaged car. But before we get to it, if you enjoy cars just as much as I do, whether it's a Rolls Royce, a Bentley, or even a rat rod truck, then consider clicking the subscribe button so you can follow along with everything that goes on here on the channel. Now let's get to work. Now with all those damaged pieces removed off of our main car, it's time to focus our time here on our parts car. And we need to remove the wing. We have two doors to remove, and these come off just like on the other car. You've got an electrical connection, you've got a 13mm nut, a triple square bolt, and a 13mm nut on top. And these things just lift right off. Now we are going to have to remove these door panels, and we're going to strip these doors completely down. They're going to need to be completely stripped. All of our trim, everything around the windows, our mirror, our door handles, all this trim at the bottom, all the weather stripping, it all needs to be stripped down so we can jam these things out and match the paint to the other car. Now obviously, before any of this can take place, we need to remove these parts from the car. There you have it. All of our parts are removed off of the car, and it was pretty straightforward. It was pretty easy, and it didn't take too long. And if you look over here, we've got our parts. We've got our inner fender well. We had to take the wheel off to remove that inner fender well. We have our fender, or our wing as you should say, and we have a little bracket back here. Now this bracket was damaged on the other car, and we have our doors. So now I do have all of our old damaged parts off of the main car that I'm going to put back onto this car, speaking mostly of the doors. That way we can seal this thing up and keep the weather out of this interior, because we don't want anything to happen. We don't want any kind of stray cats or critters getting in here and destroying this nice interior, because this interior will probably be salvaged in the future. Hopefully either this will be sold off to somebody that needs an interior, or we might use this in a future project. Now while we're here with the parts car and we have a few things exposed, I want to go over one of the common problems with these Bentleys. Now these generations tend to have problems with vacuum leaks, and there's vacuum lines that run behind the engine, and they have a lot of solenoids that are on top of the transmission. And if you have issues with those, you will have to do an engine out. You will have to drop the entire drivetrain down to repair those. But also those vacuum lines run over here to this vacuum canister that you see here, right here in the fender well. Now this is hidden behind the fender, or the wing as you should say. Now this one has a problem. If you look right here at the top, you see this crack. That is a cracked pipe. Now this is the same hard plastic that all these vacuum lines are made out of, and they have a lot of problems with these, and you usually have to change them. And as you can see, this one definitely has a problem here. When you start up the engine, you do have a vacuum leak here. I noticed that. It's pretty noticeable with the fender off. So this would be something that you would have to replace. So pretty much, since this is a parts car and our engine is bad, we don't have to too much worry about it. But I just wanted to kind of go over that, because that is one of the common issues with these Bentleys. Let's show some progress. Now here's our rear door completely stripped down. All the components have been removed, all the weather stripping. And this was not easy. This was very time consuming. This door was kind of difficult to strip down like this. It just had a lot of hidden fasteners and a lot of components that needed to be removed. But as you can see, it's pretty much ready to go. And here's our driver door. I have it partially stripped down just so it'll be a little bit lighter so I can move it around. And our front bumper. Now I have been doing a little bit of work to this thing. You know, we had all these cracks all down the sides. Right here in the middle, this thing was literally about to just break in half. And I've did a little bit of plastic welding and reinforcing on the back. You can see I've got these little reinforcement studs here and all along the bottom. And this was a big major spot where it was cracked really bad, And over here on the corner, I've rebuilt some tabs. Now I do still need to do some plastic welding. We're going to kind of fill in these cracks on all these areas. And then we're going to come over here on this side. We're going to need to do some plastic welding on this side, on all these cracks. Kind of like what you see there. We're going to fill it in. We'll make it nice and smooth. And then we're going to reinforce it from the back side. We're going to reinforce this area with plastic material and some panel bond. And it'll make all these areas nice and strong. But they are pretty strong with these little braces. As you can see, I'm shaking on these pieces pretty good. Now these tabs were completely broke out. So that's just what you have to do when you got an expensive bumper. So this front bumper should turn out fine. We did the same type of repair on the white Bentley bumper, even though it wasn't quite as bad as this one. After a lot of prep work, we have both of our doors completely cleaned up, prepped, and they are both ready to be painted. Now we're going to lay down a base coat, clear coat on both of these doors. And it took a lot of work to get to this point, but this is a critical step. We need to get both of these doors jammed out. We're going to let this dry. Then we're going to flip them over in a day or two, and we're going to spray the outside. And here is our base coat. This is Nason's XL, and this is actually the first time I've ever sprayed this stuff. Now I have done some spray out test panels with this paint just to see if we got a good match, and it does match pretty good. But I'm used to using the PPG products, as you can see here. And here we have our clear coat that we're going to use. This is Deltron DC 3000 by PPG. This stuff is very expensive, and it does look really well. I've done a couple test panels, and the gloss is real nice. There you have it. Both doors are jammed out, and it turned out really well. I had to adjust my air pressure on my gun just a little bit to kind of get this thing to lay out the way I want it, and I'm pretty happy with the results. There's very little trash. Everything laid out. It's not splotchy. I was real worried about that, being that this is technically a silverish kind of color with metal flake. Everything laid out real well, and if you look, might be kind of hard to see, but the metallics laid out nice and flat, nice and smooth. So now we're going to need to let these things dry overnight, and we can continue on with the rest of the work on the other side. With the door jambs painted, we can move along to doing body work on our fender and our front bumper cover and prepping those for paint, which is exactly what we'll do in the next video. So until then, I'd like to say thank you for watching. Be sure you check out all my videos on all my other projects, and if you're not subscribed, then consider clicking the subscribe button, click the bell so you'll get the notifications, and you can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram.